Welcome back to episode 14 of AyyScare Plays Front Office Football 8, Season 2. In case you missed last episode, we had a down year, and we're going to touch on that here a little bit. So, what I think is most important here is to look at our roster strength. So, our quarterback, young guy, looking to be like a top 10 quarterback in the league. So, I think we're pretty good there. That's about where the goodness ends in terms of our offense. Running backs, we're literally last in the league right now. Fullbacks, we're near the top, so we're okay there. Tight ends, we're like middle of the pack. Wide receivers, we're second to last. And if you look at our two scores, 11 and 13. So we have nobody basically a wide receiver. Center, we're good. Guards, we're good. Tackles, we're good. So our front line is good. Our special teams is pretty crap. And then our defense overall is pretty good. So defensive ends were second. Defensive tackles were like 10th. Inside linebackers were top half. Outside linebackers were like top 7. Cornerbacks top half. Safeties top half. Now, if you did skip last episode, we did a couple of trades and we ended up going and drafting a number of offensive weapons in the first, second round, but none of them really hit. A lot of wide receivers went off the board earlier than I was anticipating in the draft, and it kind of screwed us. So right now, if you look here, 3 of our starting 4 targets are rookies, and none of them are really looking to be great players. We do have Jalen down here, but he went on IR with a ruptured Achilles tendon. So we're not really sure what to expect from him. He's already 30, so that could be a relatively bad situation. The other thing that I'm still not exactly sure why it happened, Herb Carpenter, who had been our starting running back for 8 episodes or so, he was having his best season ever, and then final couple of weeks of the season, our coaching staff dropped him. Looking at it, I'm pretty sure it had to do with cap space because he was one of our higher paid players. Even though he was having a good season, his averages and stuff were not that much better than our crappy our crappy running backs. And if you look, I think that we were paying him 15 to 20 million a year. Even after we cut him, our cap is very low. So I think that our coaching staff had to cut him due to cap space. But let me put it this way. I wish that hadn't have happened. I wish that he was still on the team. So we'll have to deal with that situation. So from there, let's get started and get ourselves some weapons here. All right. Our head coach, he's been with us now 3 seasons. He took us to a bowl one season. His primary is the secondary. And right now, can't click it if we're in there. Okay. And right now, if we look in here, you'll see that overall our secondary is pretty decent. But we don't have anybody super young in there that's supposed to get really good. So having him still might be beneficial. But I don't think I am going to give him an offer. I'll see where he lands, and if he's still our best option, we'll re-sign him. Defensive coordinator, our defense did tank a little bit last season, but this guy has been our defensive coordinator for a while, and most of the seasons where we did poorly, it was because, I forget the exact years, but here through here, we didn't have a quarterback, basically, and then last season, we had no offensive weapons. So I feel like he's still a good option for us. So I am going to go ahead and re-sign him. We will see, though, if there's a better option right now. All right. So our guy is still considered top. He's not top by a large margin, though. He's only top by 1 point. So we might want to look at some of these other guys. Specifically, maybe somebody's going to give us a little bit more of like an offensive push. So like somebody like this. Let's take a quick look at this guy. Okay. Well, that's not too bad looking. Let's take a look at how he's done. Ooh, so he won championship as assistant head coach or assistant coach for Carolina. He's actually been at Carolina basically his entire career. Definitely had a mix of success there, but he was also assistant coach. So it's not like he had as big of an impact as some other positions. Let me look at one thing. Can I click on this now? Okay, sweet, I can. I know right now our offensive line is pretty stacked, but a lot of our stacked offensive linemen are old. We might have some situation, how do I word this? We might have some position problems upcoming because our offensive line is good, but again, aging. Our secondary is decent, but aging. And we have no offensive weapons right now. So we have a couple of things that we really need to work on. So maybe I actually will go him. His play style won't matter too much because that's going to be more of our offensive coordinator. But it's good to know that he does smash mouth. So we might want to go with something similar for our offensive coordinator. Actually, let me look at something here real quick. This guy actually might be a better option because I think our offensive coordinator, how do I see this? Let me find this real quick. I think our current offensive coordinator runs West Coast. So these guys would then match. Yeah, he runs West Coast and he focuses on quarterback. So we could bring in this guy. He focuses on running back. He would have the same play style and his bars look pretty good. Okay. He's had a couple of years of head coaching experience. So we're getting somebody that's a little bit like raw, but I think that this might actually be a good option. Let's go with him. All right. Offensive coordinator. Our guy is still towards the top. However, now that our quarterback is a little bit more seasoned, it might be more beneficial to go someone like this, although his young talent isn't that high and his play calling is not that high. Although his scouting and interviewing is really good, so that could give us a good potential look at some young wide receivers. And he's coming off of being offensive coordinator for the championship team. All right, let's switch things up. Let's do it. I think those are two good options for us. Same defensive coordinator. Not going to worry about anything there. All right. Assisting coach, we can also go something that's going to be a little bit different. Let's see here. Top guy technically focuses on running back, which is something that we're going to now need. Going somebody with secondary is probably a decent option. This guy didn't do well as a head coach, but he does have a number of different backgrounds for us. Let's go with this guy. I think I'm not a huge fan of his scouting and interviewing, but if we nail a good secondary pick, this guy could definitely help us out. So let's go with this guy. All right. And then we have top strength coordinator. All right. Let's hope those coaching picks end up working in our favor. All right. We need to look real quick at what our situation here is. So we're going into offseason with about $80 million. There are going to definitely be a couple of players in here that we don't know too much about. We're going to have to give our quarterback a deal or get ready to franchise him. So we'll see what he's asking for. Vince Collins has been a really good quarterback for us. So hopefully we can re-sign him. Our main nose tackle is also up. Yeah, we have a number of people that we're going to potentially need to re-sign, so we might need to look at if there's anybody worth cutting. Now, Vince Collins is on his final year of contract and he's getting paid a crap ton, so hopefully he'll give us a team deal. That will actually hopefully save us some money. This tackle has done exceptionally, so I'm not interested in cutting. How did Donnie Pasco do last year? Basically in line with how he's been doing. He's a little bit of a polarizing player for us, so definitely a player that I want to keep an eye on. Still our kind of main players up here at the top. I don't think there's really much we're going to be able to change up here. Yep, this guy was a starting corner. He didn't play great last year, but we might be hard to find somebody better, especially since we need to go wide receiver or something like that. Yeah, so I don't think there's really anybody, at least towards the top of this list, that is really going to impact our money that I see that's worth cutting. So we're going to have to roll with it. All right. Let's see. We have pick. It looks like it's 13, but let me just come in here and double check. Yeah, we have 13 across the board. So, looking at the top of this list, it looks like there will almost certainly be a running back for us to potentially go. There's 2 highly ranked wide receivers. A third one down here, who actually looks pretty darn good. So, it looks like we'll have a chance to at least get 1 offensive unit with that 13th pick. So, let's go through re-signing and see what we can do here. All right, biggest question. What is this quarterback asking for? We need to open up our player franchise salaries, as always. And let's take a look. Oh, that is a actually pretty good deal for us, especially since last season, at least, he had no offensive weapons, still threw for 3,000 yards, had that good distinction between touchdowns and interceptions. So, him asking basically for a top 10 salary, this is definitely something that I want to pursue. So let's go ahead and keep him on. All right. Vince Collins, give us a team deal, man. Oh yeah, this is a team deal. He's still super highly rated, played well the past 2 seasons. So good that we're going to keep him around. Let's see. Our main nose tackle. Honestly, hasn't put up too crazy of numbers, but I don't think this is too crazy of a deal. He's basically asking to be a top 20. So for now, we need to make sure to lock in a player like that. Our starting right tackle, not asking for much at all. We'll definitely keep him on. Our free safety, now he hasn't had too much of a chance to play because I think, yeah, it looks like Lee, wait, what was the guy's name? I'm completely blanking right now. Wasn't Wayne Lee, but it was it was Wayne Lee. Yep, he finally retired. So this guy hasn't had a lot of starting experience for us, but his bars are overall pretty good. And his numbers also look pretty good based on how much he was able to start. So that is a great extension there for us. Let's take a quick look at attitudes. Sweet, we don't have anybody that's mad and nobody worried about playtime. Sweet. So those all kind of line up in a good order for us. I think we need to try to negotiate a couple of these salaries so we can potentially nab someone off of free agency that's worthwhile. Herb Carpenter is sitting here. I wonder if we can get him back. Probably not. But no great wide receivers. This guy's not bad, so might be worth trying to grab somebody like that. Same with this guy. Not bad. He's a downfield threat, which our quarterback does like long passes. So maybe a worthwhile person to try to pull in. Huh. All right. Well, there's not anybody super interested on free agency this year, so let's try to rework a couple of these. I would love to keep this left tackle. He is incredible, and he's giving us a team deal. So let's go ahead and lock him in. Also, sorry if I sound a little bit congested. I am. So sorry my voice sounds a little bit off this episode. If we can keep kind of this core offensive front, I would love it. This center is asking for a groundbreaking center deal, so let's keep him on current contract. This left guard, let's just see here. Not exactly a team deal, but he's extending a year for pretty cheap for us, so we'll extend him. That 3 front right there is really nice. Really helping us out. Let's see what Jalen. He's coming off of an injury, so I don't know what he's going to be asking for. Let's see. Okay, it's a little bit of a team deal. The only thing that I'm concerned about is that we don't know how these bars are going to change. That being said, if he comes back healthy and balls out, then we're not going to get him this cheap again. I am worried that we're going to re-sign him, and then after preseason and stuff, he's going to drop a 50 instead of a 65. So I'm going to keep him where he is, actually. Because we should be able to re-sign him next year. He might just be more expensive if he does ball out. Donnie Pasco, let's see if we can keep him around. That's overall a good deal for us, and he's been very consistent. As I mentioned, he's a little bit of a polarizing figure. A lot of people we've had on our team don't like him, but he's definitely been extremely consistent. So I don't have a problem extending him, especially now that we've dealt with the conflicts that he was having. Or I guess that he was causing. All right, so we've re-signed a number of our top assets. So only other thing, we'll extend our long snapper. He has a high rating. How much is this? Wide receivers basically done nothing for us. Yeah, I can probably find better for cheaper, to be honest. Okay. Just trying to see if there's anybody down here that I might have missed. Doesn't look like it. And we also need a better, at least punter. This kicker wasn't terrible, but we'll see how that pans out. Our fullback has been pretty decent. Yeah, we'll extend him. Again, we have so many holes in our team right now that I'm a little bit scared to lose anybody that could potentially be worthwhile for us. That's also a solid re-sign right there. All right. I'm a big fan of that guy. All right. So now, there isn't much that we really directly need. We don't have any holes where it's we have no guards or something like that. So we're a little bit free to kind of do what we want. But I think that short answer here is we need another offensive weapon, especially if Jalen doesn't come back healthy. And then, getting somebody young on our secondary or offensive line, I think, is also key. So let's see how this pans out. All right, so we got 2 corners. This guy's only 25. He's a character red flag, though. I don't want to bring anything like that into the team right now. This guy is 32, coming back from injury. Really hasn't played in 3 years, so probably skip out on him. Yeah, I don't think there's anybody worth going in the first round or stage. The second stage, or technically the third stage, we got... I wonder if we can re-sign Herb. I have a feeling he's going to be he's going to give probably the thing that's like, I won't re-sign with you due to past injustices, but I'm still going to give him an offer because he's the only player in the first 2 stages that I really care about. So, let's see here. Ooh, that is an expensive contract for a running back that's... Actually, he's only 27. I keep forgetting that he entered the league so young. It looked like last year he was on... I mean, he easily broke his, like, career things. Like, ugh. I don't like that our coaching staff got rid of him halfway through the season. That being said, I don't think we can afford to pay him what he's asking for, so we're going to have to skip out on him anyway. Let's see what he goes for, and then that might give us an inkling in terms of being able to put in an offer here on Juan Lewis. Let's see. He signed to Buffalo basically for what he was asking for. Okay. So, this guy's not asking for much. How old is this guy? He's 29. His bars are still decent, but he's also only asking for a 2-year deal, which I feel like is acceptable. So let me up these slightly. Sweet expressed excitement. Sounds good to me. And then, was this the wide receiver that I thought was interesting? I think this guy's going to go for too much. He's not asking for that much, actually. Let's look at his last couple of seasons. So he's kind of been all over the place. He's only really had 1 season of noteworthiness. I don't know. I feel like this guy's not really worth putting the offer for. I think the other wideout that was like super fast is a little bit more interesting to me. And this guy should go for significantly less. So let's hold out for that guy. That guy's round 5. So next after this. Sweet. So we were able to sign the running back. And then let's go ahead and put in an offer on that one wide receiver, the really fast guy here. He's not asking for much. All right, let's increase these a little bit to try to make sure we get him. We'll offer him. Actually, bonus becomes kind of stuck that we have to pay it. So let's do something where we up these slightly. Let me actually set this. Actually, that's fine. This gives us a little bit of an opt-out if he doesn't end up performing well at all. Although our quarterback expressed disappointment, so never mind. What's this wide receiver looking like? This guy's coming off. This guy has a little bit more of a longer history in the league. He had 2 seasons over 1,000 yards, which is decent. How old is this guy? 34. Okay. Probably not somebody I want to bring in either. What about this guy down here? Coming off of injury, just like my other guy, so no. Never really been a factor. He's been like a solid wide receiver too a couple of years, but and there's this guy. All these guys are pretty old, and this guy's also been like a journey. Well, not a journeyman. He's been with the same team. He's been a solid wide receiver too for them though. Okay. I don't know. None of those guys really stand out to me now, especially since Tanner was the only one that did, but our quarterback wasn't happy about it. So I guess we'll kind of just leave that as is. I guess if we could bring in one additional defensive tackle, that would be good. Let me put in a quick offer on this guy. Okay, express disappointment. Evan Strong down here. This guy hasn't done much of anything. He also would help us out on special teams a bit. So we'll just offer him exactly what he's asking for. Although nobody on the team was pissed about this guy, so let's increase him a little bit. Why were none of these quarterbacks on free agency when we needed a quarterback? Eduardo Prescott. What's this guy's situation? Another older journeyman. Well, not journeyman, one team, but wide receiver 2. Pretty much solid wide receiver 2. Huh. Now I forget. Jalen is an SC? Yeah, he is. Okay. Huh. All right, we'll see if we get the defensive tackle and then look at draft options. Not a great season for free agency, honestly. All right, we signed him. Sweet. So let's go through draft. So we still have kind of the same exact situation in terms of what we need. So at pick 13, is it? Yeah, 13. Oh, we're probably not going to have an option of either top running back, but we could probably interview the other 3 and then probably interview like wide receivers 2 and 3. Let's do that. All right, this guy really has no pass catching, but his other ones look pretty darn good. He's considered overrated, so we'll mark him as blue. Let's keep our focus on running backs here for a second. This guy's running stats don't look good, but he's an awesome out-of-back pass catcher. I really don't know if that's worth interviewing. I actually don't know what to make of this. Let me check one thing. In terms of offensive philosophy here, I know we're running a bunch of West Coast stuff right now. Does that do a lot of... I don't remember if... so West Coast, short slants... Okay. I really don't know what to think of this. I'll interview him. I was considered very overrated, so another blue. I have Robbie Lee here. Kind of like a middle down the line, so none of those running backs looked especially interesting. I doubt we're going to have a shot at this guy. If we do, we'll take a shot in the dark on him, probably. Let's look at these other 2, though. That looks very promising, so we'll mark him. And the next one in the list, considered overrated, but his bars still remained high. I'll mark him as blue. And there's actually 2 other ones that are relatively high here. Okay, that guy's a little bit more interesting. We'll mark him red. Okay. I gotta say, I like how this guy's a bigger wide receiver in this game. Not great at these 2, but since we're doing like a lot of like short slants and things, the route running and all of these being high is really great. So he's actually very interesting to me. Okay, so the short answer here is I think we're definitely going wide receiver with our first round pick. I don't see us wavering on that. I think the second question becomes is there's a number of wide receivers in this list towards the top. Would we potentially stand a shot at one of these guys in round 2? I think that is a legitimate question. Could you imagine if we were able to get 2 of the top 10 wide receivers? That could really, really boost how good our quarterback does. And even this guy, his courage is horrible, but his other stats look really good. In my opinion, it's rare to see that this far down in the draft. This is a pretty wide receiver, deep draft, it seems to me. Yeah, because even these guys down here, look at this. This guy would almost certainly be available in the second round. And he's considered underrated? All right. Oh, there are so many interesting wide receivers this draft. Look at this guy. This guy's even further down. This guy's only 21. His bars all look gross. This is a great wide receiver draft. Why didn't we have this when we had 3 early picks last draft? The game's not working in my favor. Okay, so that probably wraps up picks 1 and 2 for us. After that, what can we focus on? We could potentially try to get a 3rd round guard or something that somebody has not developed yet, but we could develop over the next couple of seasons. I think that's actually a pretty good bet. Let's see. A lot of these guys are pretty highly developed. This guy down here is a little bit interesting because he's only 15%. His bars look decent. We only have 2 interviews left. Let's look at guards. Somebody down the list here, like this guy. Yeah. Let's look at centers. I think our center is how many? Yeah, he's 6 years, so he should still have at least 5 seasons, hopefully. So let's not focus on a center. Secondary, we know, is a little bit weak, so maybe we should look at a 3rd round corner. Somebody like this. I really like that man-to-man bar, and his interceptions are above 50. Very overrated. Perfect. Ooh, I like this guy's bars. He's a little bit on the smaller side, but I think that he'll be okay. How do you do in the combine? Lots of blues, basically, so that's pretty good. Considered overrated. Okay. All right. So the real hope right now is that we're able to land hopefully 2 of those wide receivers, because I think that would put us in a really good position. But we'll find out here momentarily. Let's see, we're pick 13. We'll keep it on fast to get us through these first couple picks. Defensive tackle. Jacksonville goes running back. Interesting, because there are 3 quarterbacks towards the top. So you would typically expect at least one of them to go in the first 3. Okay, that's the top wide receiver. I was not expecting him to be available, so that is very valid. All right, second wide receiver is off the board at pick 6. Buffalo goes wide receiver. Okay, we're going wide receiver heavy. Not in our favor, but we have a high enough pick that we should be able to get at least one of the guys that we were interested in. All right. Ooh, Buffalo has another pick. Buffalo goes wide receiver and tackle. That is good for them. Houston goes top tight end. All right. So we're up. We have two guys that we liked that are both available. The only thing that I will say is that they're not in, they're not in either of the views in terms of, next worthy probably 20 picks. But other teams are going to inevitably reach for these guys. How big is Jalen? I forget. He's 6'1", 200. I think I'm going to go with this guy. He's a little bit bigger, but I think having that on the team would be beneficial. This guy's bars are better. Because ideally, I would like to get this guy because I think his bars are going to play really well into like a lot of like quick slants and things like that. And then hopefully be able to grab Quinn Sanders down here, who's going to be kind of my like over the top guy. And there's also these guys down here still. There are a lot of options. Eduardo Baker. Let me mark the ones that are most interesting. I think Eduardo Baker and Quinn Sanders are really the two that are of most interest after these two. Let's look at one thing. Is there any team that has 2 first-round picks remaining? Carolina, Dallas. I might be overlooking it, but I think the answer is no. Okay. All right. As scouted. I really do think the size thing, let me look real quick, because I know we drafted that tight end that's actually supposed to become decent. He's a bigger guy, so he could kind of be our big target. All right. We'll go the top rated. I think that's going to be the best option here. We didn't even interview this guy, but he looks pretty dope too. We're going the top guy. All right. Let's see how this pans out. All right. Did any of those wide receivers fall? They did not. Man. Okay, so this was super wide receiver heavy. I was really anticipating one of those guys still being there. That is definitely a little bit not concerning, but not what I was anticipating. All right. Well, we go to the next one on the board. To be honest, this is like probably wide receiver 10 now. And I mean, his bar is still very decent. We didn't interview this far down, but we'll have to click through some of these options and just see if anybody else really stands out. It really looks like the guy that we have marked up there at the top. This guy isn't bad. Although, I don't know if this is me like overthinking it. Whenever I see like getting downfield highly rated, I would expect their like dash, at least dash to be blue, and this guy isn't. I don't know if that's me overthinking it or if that's like a valid thought process for me. That guy's interesting. I have a feeling that he is far down on the list because he's not as good as his bars show. Another guy that I think he's far down on the list because he's not as good. But you never know. Seth Burke, not great 40 time, but high agility, which is a little bit weird based on his bars. Okay. I think that the answer, I'm going to look at this top guy again. I think we should just go this guy. I mean, the other option is that we could use this pick for, next best future tackle or something like that, which is a valid thing to do here. Something like these two are very, very interesting, and they wouldn't be starting for us right away, so they would have a little bit more time to develop. Hopefully their bars would go up. Did not mean to mark that guy. And of course we have our entire quarterback situation. That is a very interesting looking corner, to be honest. I'm actually going to mark him. That's another great looking corner. Maybe we should actually take one of those two corners. Neither of them are going to be there on the next round. So we don't know how our first draft pick is scored. So, okay, let's not do back-to-back wide receiver. Let's grab one of these two corners. And I realize this guy is higher rated. I kind of like this guy's bars more, though. I mean, the man-to-man bump and run defense and interceptions and play diagnosis are all literally as high as they can be. We didn't interview him, so it's a little bit of a guess. He's also super high on endurance, super high on special teams. I realize he's lower rated, but I think that's who I'm going with. All right. We still have some time on those wideouts, so we'll skip them for now. Let's see if we can pull in another running back that looks semi-decent. I like that he's got a high breakaway speed and speed to the outside. And it looks like he has some pass catching ability. And the other guy that we brought in, I think, is a little bit more of like a bruiser. Yeah, this guy's like power to the inside. So maybe those two would work well together. Let me mark that guy. He might still be there in a round, though. He's relatively low, unless another team reaches on him, which is 100% always possible. That guy looks like a decent pass catcher. Okay, I'm not going to go further down than this. Oh, it's a good thing I looked at this guy. This guy's bars actually look pretty damn decent. Marked. Okay. All right, we have a couple of very interesting options there. What's our backup quarterback situation? That's something that is always a little bit important. It basically non-existent. So if we could find a backup quarterback, that could be a very nice plug. Somebody we can, hopefully get up to speed over the next year or two. Someone like this is at least interesting. I'm not a huge fan of their bottom bars, but again, first of all, they're 1% developed, so the bars will probably change significantly. They're 21. They match the QB style of our current guy. I'm going to mark him. The issue now is that we're getting a bunch of players that seem very valid, but they're all probably going to be like next round. I don't feel like I found somebody that is a clear pick for this round. Let's just go with... Do we need inside linebacker? We only have one right now, so that could be a or we only have, wait a second. We have 2. They're both decent, though, but having another one can't hurt us. And this guy actually looks very good. Not the best in pass strength and zone and bump and run, but in terms of like run and pass rush, I actually really like this guy. Let's take a look at this guy real quick. This guy's more like a middle of the road, overall useful player. And real quick, this guy's huge. He's 6'7". We really don't need a defensive end, though, so let's not even bother with that one. All right, let's go with top remaining inside linebacker. All right, now let's look back at these. None of these guys, as a reminder, we have interviewed, so that definitely makes it a little bit more complicated. This guard is still sitting here. I marked this guy. He's a young guy. Could, be a backup or bench for at least a season or 2. Let's pull him in now. All right, the other wide receivers that we were interested in did fall off the board, but I don't think that is a terrible thing. I didn't feel too confident in them anyway, so let's see. Those running backs are still there. QB, those guys are going to be there. So let's just confirm here. This was the guy that was a little bit more of a passing back. And the guy down here, this was the guy that might be considered a sleeper, in my opinion. So let's go with the guy that we think is going to be a sleeper, just in case he actually is. And then we're going to use round 6 on the backup QB situation. It looks like either of these guys will be here around 7, though. So let's actually... what is a position that we still need? Let's just take a quick look. Ooh, so the corner we got and the middle linebacker we got are supposed to be good. And the wide receiver we got is not supposed to be great, but he's supposed to be pretty good. So, okay. I think overall this draft looks pretty decent so far. But we actually went here to check this. All right. So realistically, we do still need somebody else in our secondary is something that we still definitely need to add. And probably a tight end is the other thing that is of most interest in the draft. So let's look at these tight ends. No. 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 Okay. And then let's look at secondary. That actually isn't half bad, to be quite honest, especially for how late we are in the draft. Okay. 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 And then let's look at corners again. I don't like that guy's strength is so low. This guy's only 1 higher. Okay, Joshua Downs, his bars look very decent. He didn't do the combine. He's a little bit of the smaller side of a corner. But, I mean, at this point in the draft, I will give him a shot. Then let's hope that one of those quarterbacks falls to us. They both do. And they're pretty far down, which means we might be able to nab them in the... I don't know. I don't think that guy is that much more interesting. So maybe we should nab one of these two. All right. Jermaine Close is definitely a little bit more interesting than me. He didn't do a combine or anything. He is 24. He's 20% developed. On the flip side, we have Bernard Waldron over here. Matches QB style of our guy. Only 1% developed. He's considered cheerful. Overall, his bars are okay, and since he's only 1% developed, these could also change significantly. I don't know. This guy at least did the combine. Are any of his numbers blue? Only his dash time. Huh. We'll give Bernard Waldron the chance to be our backup. All right. Late free agency. Let's real quick check out how all of our picks are currently rated. So our corner, very highly rated. Our middle linebacker, very highly rated. Our wide receiver is decently highly rated. Running back is actually pretty decent one here too. Left guard. Backup quarterback currently slated to be a 42, which is great for a backup. That other corner, 42, which isn't great, but as a third string or fourth string corner, I'm not complaining. Inevitably these guys' numbers will change and stuff, but I would say it doesn't look like we bombed the draft in any way. So I think that is a good sign. All right, we know that we have a few positions that we need to fill. I know we need to fill punter. We also need to get a tight end and another safety. So let's take a quick look. Rookie punter. Let's go ahead, make sure he signs with us. And that sucks because we actually had that punter that made like Pro Bowl multiple years. So would love to see him stick around. This outside linebacker he looks like he had a really good season last year. He's not asking for much at all, so I'm going to give him a little bit extra to try to make sure he signs with us. All right. We know we need a tight end. Let's see if we can find a decent one that we might be able to get for cheap, though. That guy's way too expensive for us. This guy's way too expensive. Yeah, we need to find like a rookie that we can slide in. Another nose tackle. This is a position that I feel like you never really get too many decent ones of. So if he gets starting experience. He's probably not going to get starting experience, so let's skip on that. Decent looking left tackle that slipped through the draft. We'll try to pay him enough to make sure he signs with us. Let's see. Top wide receiver that slipped through the draft. And now I need to specifically look for what I actually need. All right, we need tight end. So let's see. It looks like this is the top rookie tight end that went through the draft. Not too interesting in terms of their bars. This guy's not too interesting either, so we'll go that slightly better rated. And then he should get some starting experience. And then we also need a safety, so let's slide down there. Kenneth Haller. Yep. Looks like a good guy to add. All right. Let's see. Signed to the punter. Signed to that outside linebacker. So I'm happy with those two. Signed to the tight end, signed to the wide receiver. And hopefully we get this tackle and this free safety. And then, yep, we got them both. All right, we're going into the season with basically no money, which means we might go over cap and lose a pick next year. But I don't know. I think that overall the team composition that we have going here seems decent to me. All right. Big question will be after preseason how our players have adjusted in score. All right. Denver Drovers. And let's see. Let's do it this way. All right. Unfortunately, Alright, this guy's just a bruised rib cage, sprained knee. Okay, so we should have both of them back shortly. It looks like after... Now, a number of these numbers changed significantly because we brought in a new coaching staff. But it looks like Devin Holmberg is still highly rated. That core of left offensive line center are still highly rated. Looks like our right guard increased. Jalen is still rated at 62. I think he dropped a little bit. 62 is still good. Okay. I think a number of our players definitely slid in terms of their overall estimate. I think that we had like 8 players that were considered very good, and we're now down to 3. But overall, I think that the main core that we had are still on here. If we look at, this is going to change after we do this week though, so let's go ahead and sim week 1. We're going up against Las Vegas, and we're favored by basically a touchdown. And we did win, and we put up 30 points, which is a good sign. Let's go ahead and here now look at our starting lineup. So, Jalen is still our starting main target. It doesn't, okay. Roman, who was our 13th overall, he's on here. He did get a catch in his first game, so that's cool. You normally don't expect the rookie wide receiver to like blow up week 1. Normally they take half a season or so to kind of get started. Cool. Okay, let's do our typical here. We'll sim to week 4 and then take a look at how things are going. Here, we put up 34 against Chicago. We're going up against Albuquerque. And we barely won, but we won 14-13. And then we have a bye week 4. All right. Let's take a quick look at how that really has come together for us. All right, so Holmberg overall is playing very well. In 3 games, he has 6 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. So hopefully we'll see those interceptions lower a little bit. But overall, that's a very nice stat line, and he has almost a 90 passer rating. It looks like we're running the ball a lot. Our rushes per game are the most in the league right now. So, I mean, obviously you would expect rushing yards to kind of be top 5 with that many rushes, and we're 6th. So I'd say that's decent. Yards per carry, we're sitting at 4, and that's ranked 20. It looks like our passing game, though, is really starting to pick up, which is exactly what we wanted. And then our defense, right now, let's say we're struggling a little bit with some of these stats, but we'll probably see that come back to a median. Let's see. So Jalen is definitely our top target right now, which is expected. He came back healthy. Frederick Browning is our second most targeted at the moment. Then, so has our rookie gotten any additional catches? Let's take a quick look. Okay, he's sitting at, he's 2 for 2 and sitting at, what is that, 28 yards? So 14 yards a reception. That's pretty decent. All right. Let's keep this thing rolling. We beat Buffalo. We beat them handily, too. Going up against Miami. They beat us. Here will be a big game for us. California is currently 5-0, so definitely a top contender here. They beat us pretty handily. We've lost the past 2 weeks. We really had no money to even consider trades, but let's see if we can figure out if something specific is slipping here. And look at that. Since, okay, a bunch of players ended up boosting and scored. Wait, now I'm a little bit confused. Okay. Where is it? Did I click here? Yeah. Was I just saying not? I feel like I was using my mouse wheel. Was I just not scrolled up all the way earlier? Or like, was I looking at it like this or something? I don't think that's what I did because. Okay, I don't know. I feel a little bit confused now, but okay, cool. So I think this really looks like we're coming together, though. Sebastian Slaughter, who's played well for us, he has a pretty significant injury. We actually have a number of injuries here. Sprained knee, strained hamstring, and he's considered tired. Separated shoulder. Yeah, so I wouldn't say that we're currently missing anybody super key. Obviously, you want your left tackle to be healthy. You want your left defensive end to be healthy. But in terms of like our main weapons and things, I think right now we're looking okay. Once again, our defense is hopefully going to kind of come together here down the stretch. Yeah, Holmberg is playing very well for us. That's awesome. All those passing stats are like top 5 in the league. Yeah, our defense is currently a little bit low on numbers, but we're sitting at 4-2, so we can't really complain. Look at that. He only has 16 attempts, but that Juan Lewis, the guy that we pulled off of free agency, he is averaging 7 yards a carry right now. Again, it's only on 16 carries, so it's a little bit fluky, but cool. Let's keep it rolling, guys. We beat New England. That was a good team in the league. Here we go up against Kansas City. We beat them handily. Against New Jersey, they beat us. Las Vegas, they beat us. That's 2 weeks where we didn't put up great offensive scoring. Let's just take a quick look. Okay. We have a couple of players that are down here on IR. I don't know what Green is considered. I don't think Green is considered IR, but definitely injured. I think that's the best way to word it. Okay. How is Roman here doing? Hasn't been getting much play time, but okay. He seems to be increasing, so he'll definitely slot in for us next season if he doesn't. I feel like he should be able to slot in place of Henry Jones at this point. Although Henry Jones is actually playing decently. Halfway through the season or a little bit past, 340 yards, 156 after the catch, which I think is pretty high. Like, what's Jalen's? Yeah, he has a really high yards after the catch considering how many catches he has. All right, let's keep rolling. And at this point, how's this guy doing? Yeah, okay. Putting together a very nice season here. All right, we're up against Green Bay. They're also 6-4. They beat us handily. Going up against Tennessee. We put up big numbers on them. Against Minnesota, they're a good team. We beat them handily, and that's 2 games in a row that we scored high and our defense held. So that's exactly what we want to see heading into playoffs. Hopefully we make playoffs. We're at 8-5. So let's keep it rolling. We're going up against Kansas City. They're 3-10. So this should be a relatively gimme game. We tied. Okay. Let's see here. We have 2 weeks left. And neither are easy. Next week we go up against probably the best team in the league. So we really need to take the W against Detroit here. Let's take a quick look here at stats. Yeah, okay. Things are looking overall pretty good here. Our running game for one of the only times in this series is actually doing exceptionally well. I think that's mainly because our offensive line, it looks like some people are injured, but our offensive line is overall completely stacked. right now. So glad to see that the running game is finally paying off. Let's see, Pasco's injured, hyperextended knee. That's not good. Vince Collins is a strained hamstring. That's not good. All right, Devin, you need to play big here and get us into playoffs. Since it looks like we are right on the cusp, let's take a quick look at this. All right, this is it right now. We have basically a 66% chance to make playoffs. And if we do get in, it will be in a wild card. We stand no chance at a bye, basically. So this is a big week for us. Let's see what we do against Detroit. We took the W. Low scoring game, but we took the W. Before we play this game, so California, again, I think is the top team in the league. Looks like them and Dallas are and Pittsburgh. So there are actually 3 teams at 12-3. How much does this game matter in terms of us getting in? It matters a lot. So I don't know exactly because it's a little bit hard to tell here. I would say if we win, we're definitely in. It looks like even if we lose, though, there's a combination of things that mean we could still make it, is what it looks like at least. So here we go. Wait a second. We're going up against which team? I already forgot. We're going up against California. California is already guaranteed playoff, although they are playing for their bye week. So, okay, I was thinking that they might not run a full starting lineup, but considering they're playing for the bye week, they probably are. So, here we go. Ooh, they beat us bad. Okay. 9-6-1. That is a valiant effort and basically 50-50% chance of us getting in at this point. So let's see. Dang. Man, look at these. I mean, outside of Jacksonville, I'm guessing that Jacksonville won their division is what I'm guessing happened here. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Us saying 9-6, there were so many teams that finished with really good records. Like, normally you see like at least 1 or 2 teams in here that are like 9-7 or 8-8. Really doesn't exist this season. So, only real good thing that is going to come out of this then is we should have a higher draft pick next year, which should help us out. But obviously would have loved to make playoffs and had a shot at winning this. Whenever you make playoffs, it's like a new life, You basically need to win 4 games and you get the W. But Dallas against Pittsburgh. Dallas takes it 10-6 in the bowl. All right. Let's go ahead and save. And before we close up, we'll quickly do our once-over like we typically do. So, let's take a look at our team summary. So, good things to come out of the season. Holmberg, I think, has proven himself as a very valid starting quarterback. Our running game actually looked decent this year, which is fantastic. Our passing game, Jalen was definitely our favorite target, and it doesn't really look like our rookie ended up really getting in there to get too much play time. Let's take a quick look at him here. Where is he actually? Looks like he did end up starting final week. Yeah, he did. I mean, he at least touched the field. He got his first NFL touchdown, things like that. So you can see here he's angry. So he was getting pissed off that he wasn't playing enough. So that's something that we'll need to keep an eye on. That might mean that we need to cut 1 or 2 of these other guys. Although I feel like he's a high enough rated now that he should start for us regardless next season. At least as our wide receiver too. So hopefully that disappears from our list. Looks like a number of conflicts popped up throughout the season, a couple of playtime things, so we'll need to deal with those in the off season if we can. Looking at this, just looking at it, does it look like anybody potentially made Pro Bowl? I think Devin Holmberg actually stands a shot, probably not as like first team or anything, but potentially as a second team. I think he played decently, but I would say that's a stretch. I don't see any of our offensive weapons getting there. Based on how good our run game and pass game was, it wouldn't surprise me if a couple of our offensive linemen make the Pro Bowl. And then looking at the defense, actually Brady is an interesting option here. He's the free safety. He only got 72 tackles, but he got 7 interceptions and an 84% passer rating, which is extremely good. So maybe we'll see him in the Pro Bowl. I don't think these other guys are really going to make it. So we'll see. So I think best shot we have is some offensive linemen and Brady. See what ends up happening here. Season awards. Yep, so we had first team center and our center. Oh, we had a second team fullback and our fullback. All right. Wow, I'm actually surprised that the safety didn't get in here, especially since there are, I guess, do these have to be one SS and one? No, it doesn't look like it. So technically there can be 4 safeties. Let's look at what these guys put up. So this guy got like, what, I guess 25 more tackles, but his passing stuff wasn't as good. This guy put up 100 tackles. And then 5 interceptions. Yeah, so I'll be honest. I think that we probably got a little bit gypped that we didn't beat this guy. But, you take some, you lose some, you win some, however you want to say it. Cool. And then the one other thing that we just have to check in on before we close up is he's not their starting quarterback anymore. He fell into backup role here. Bart Hines. Wanted to see kind of where he went the past couple of seasons. It looks like, I think it was probably 80 or 81 where we learned that he went to Green Bay and got a ring. And it must have been 81 because he won the ring in 80. So, like 2 seasons ago, we found out that he actually had a decent career with Green Bay after us. But it looks like he's now fallen into backup role. So interesting to see kind of how his career trajectory changed after leaving us and then changed over the past couple of seasons. All right, so going into next season, I think that we are in a pretty good set now. So the only thing that I'm now a little bit concerned about is Jalen's retirement. As long as he comes back next season and is ready to play at age 32, I think that him combined with Roman up here, I think that we have the kind of the 2 offensive weapons we need to see Devin Holmberg really kind of have a great season. Hopefully our offensive line also remains where it's at because I know they're now getting up there in age. But yeah, I think we should be pretty good for a playoff run next episode. And we'll see how it all pans out. If you guys made it to the end of the episode, thank you as always. I really do enjoy shooting this series, so thank you for sticking around with me if you are. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Till then, AyyScare out.